Hello, friends. Welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister. We are in Bible study. We are in the NIV, and we will be through the end of 2025. If you're particularly partial to the KJV, you'll be happy to know that that is January 1st, 2026, and we will be doing that through the end of 2027. So you'll get 2 straight years of the KJV and nothing but that. Well, except the Proverbs on those years, because I've already done the Proverbs for the KJV on the Facebook page. You can find it on there. It has the same name as this channel. In this video, we are in Leviticus chapter 15 of the NIV, and we are doing verses 1 through the whole chapter 1 through 33. Discharges causing uncleanness. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when any man has a bodily discharge, the discharge is unclean. Whether it continuously flows from his body or is blocked, it will make him unclean. This is how his discharge will bring about uncleanness. Any bed that the man with discharge lies in will be unclean. Anything he sits on will be unclean. Anyone who touches his bed must wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will be unclean till evening. Whoever sits on anything that the man with the discharge sat on must wash his hands and bathe with water, and he will be unclean till evening. Whoever touches the man who has a discharge must wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will be unclean till evening. If the man with the discharge spits on someone who is clean, that person must wash his clothes and bathe with water. He will be unclean till evening." That's very rude, spitting on people. Oh my goodness. Everything the man sits on when riding will be unclean. And whoever touches any of the things that were under him will be unclean till evening. Whoever picks up those things must wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will be unclean till evening. Anyone the man with a discharge touches without rinsing his hands with water must wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will be unclean till evening. Okay. The clay pot that the man touches must be broken, and any wood article to be rinsed with water. Okay. When a man is cleansed from his discharge, he is to count off 7 days for his ceremonial cleansing. He must wash his clothes, and he must bathe himself with fresh water, and he will be clean. On the 8th day, he must take 2 doves or 2 young pigeons and come before the Lord to the entrance to the tent of meeting and give them to the priest. The priest is to sacrifice them, one for the sin offering, the one for the burnt offering. In this way, he will make atonement before the Lord for the man because of his discharge. When a man has an emission of semen, he must bathe his whole body with water, and he will be unclean till evening. Yes, even that discharge. Okay. Any clothing or leather that has semen on it must be washed with water, and it will be unclean till evening. When a man lies with a woman and there is an emission of semen, both must bathe with water. Yep. Yes. Okay, and they will be unclean till evening. So even then, when a woman has a regular flow of blood, the impurity of her monthly period will last 7 days, and anyone who touches her will be unclean till evening. Anything she lies on during her period will be unclean. Anything she sits on will be unclean. Whoever touches her bed must wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will be unclean till evening. So either both of you are in the house and nobody's going anywhere, or you're sleeping in separate beds during that time. Whoever touches anything she sits on must wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will be unclean till evening. Whether it is the bed or anything she's sitting on, with anyone who touches it, he will be unclean till evening. If a man lies with her and her monthly flow touches him, he will be unclean for 7 days. Any bed he lies on will be unclean. When a woman has a discharge of blood for many days at any other time than her monthly period, or has a discharge that continues beyond her period, she will be unclean as long as she has the discharge, just as in the days of her period. Any bed she lies on while her discharge continues will be unclean, as is her bed during her monthly period. And anything she sits on will be unclean, as during her period. Whoever touches them will be unclean. He must wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will be unclean till evening. When she is cleansed from her discharge, she must count off 7 days, and after that she will be ceremonially clean. On the 8th day she must take 2 doves and 2 young pigeons and bring them to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The priest is to sacrifice one for the sin offering and the other for the burnt offering. In this way, he will make atonement for her before the Lord for the uncleanness of her discharge. You must keep the Israelites separate from things that make them unclean, so they will not die in their uncleanness for defiling my dwelling place, or my tabernacle, which is among them. These are the regulations for a man with a discharge, for anyone made unclean by the emission of semen, for a woman in her monthly period, for a man or woman with a discharge, or for a man who lies with a woman who is ceremonially unclean. So at least those things are pretty even, because they're not going into what kind of discharge. Doesn't matter. All kinds. All kinds can make you unclean. So, and some of this, if you're listening to what he's saying, he's like, please wash with water, which is something that these days that's just common courtesy. It's just what we do. We don't want to be gross. We don't want to be dirty. We don't want to get sick. There's a lot of reasons. But back then, like your toddler, not knowing how often they have to clean.